Good afternoon. Good weekend for us. Got back in the win column, got back in the scoring column, which I think was more important to knocking a few goals on Friday night. Starting to get a little bit more healthy, which is always good. Had our leading scorer back from last year. Played a little bit on Friday, put a little bit last night, so we're getting there with trying to integrate some of our injuries back into the lineup, and there have been more so on the attacking end. So hopefully we'll see that benefit us going into MVC play this weekend. So got a big weekend ahead with Loyola coming in and being the perennial favorite and having a very good non-conference. Great schedule. Going to be going to be a tough matchup, but I think our girls will be excited. It'll be nice to actually have a week to prepare for one game, actually 2 weeks to prepare for two games, which will be good, allow us to get a little healthy and rest some bodies that have had a lot of mileage on them. So excited to get going. Questions?
What are some of the things that this Loyola team does well on the pitch?
They score goals. Last year, I think they were, I don't know what it was, had to have been top 5 in the country just in goals scored, and they have most of those players back. They've got a really good freshman who's leading them in scoring. They have their leading scorer from last year who's always dangerous. So I think the nice thing for us is by the time we had played them last year, it was third or fourth conference game, I think, so it was probably our 11th, 12th, 13th game of the year. That was the best attacking team we had seen, and certainly the best attacking player we've seen. I think with our schedule this year, we've seen 10 like that. So I think that'll help us deal with her a little bit better, as we've had to deal with just some amazing attacking players. A couple yesterday with Iowa State, and VCU's had, really every team we played has had some good talented attacking pieces. So they really impose their will on you. I think they don't show you anything different than who they are. They go forward, they push numbers forward, and I think their success last year in scoring first was incredible. I don't know that they lost any games that they scored first, but their record when they were scored on first was considerably different. So that's what we hope to do, is get an early goal and hopefully set the tone.
How big was that win yesterday, not only for the team for this season, but for the program, and how did the winning goal happen?
I'll start with the goal. Actually, we had some moments where I thought we were pretty good and were better than Iowa State. And early in the second half, we made a couple of adjustments and just started to pressure them. Got a corner kick, scored off a corner kick. Should have been up 2-0 almost, 2-3 minutes later. Their goalkeeper made just a fantastic save on a shot from Burnell, and we were just able to maintain that. As wins go, I suppose it's always nice to beat a Power 5, to beat Iowa State, certainly, an in-state game. But I told the girls before the game and after the game, our number 1 and 2 goals for the day were, let's be better going into Loyola, and knock on wood, let's be healthy, and if being better means we win the game, then so be it. And we did, so we accomplished both. So, I think important for the program, important for the seniors who've probably done more losing. That was the first win against them. So I think knowing a lot of the players on Iowa State, it was big in that regard. For me, we're trying to win every game we can, and I think the games starting next weekend are really what's most important. So
You catch yourself going head-to-head in recruiting with them, with a lot of the same
yeah
Iowa Tech girls?
We do, and I think it's interesting to have 4 Division I schools, and a Division II and a lot of Division IIIs, competing for really very few players. There are, Iowa is for soccer is fairly spread out between, a little bit obviously in our area, the Quad Cities, Iowa City, Des Moines, and then, in some ways Council Bluffs. And so, the numbers, the quantity is improved in the state, and so has the quality, but there's not enough players to, have 4 Division I teams build their programs around it. So you've got to be able to find kids you can develop. And I think, to be honest, I think maybe Northern Iowa might be one of the best at doing that. I mean, there's a lot of kids that started for us yesterday that, they didn't travel or play their first couple of years, and they were, they were recruited based on potential. So, that's what we've got to find is we've got to find those kids that we can develop, and in hopes that, we can continue to have a lot of quality Iowa kids.
Jordan coming in as a transfer, what have you seen out of her and what she's been able to bring to your offense?
Well, she's due to score. I mean, she's got a couple this year. She's got the game winner. She's just a physical. She's a physical forward that I think, what's interesting in just comparing her to somebody like Brunell. Brunell's your fast forward that just causes problems just by, always being around and always being in the right position. I think Jordan spends a lot of time on the ground. She's a little bit all over the place in a good way, and she just puts herself in positions to get opportunities, and she's really, really underrated in the air. And so her to score a goal on a corner kick with her feet was different, just because she's probably one of our best options when the ball's served in the air. So she's been due. She's scored a couple big goals, obviously 2 game winners now, and we're hoping. Last year we didn't have her for all but 3 or 4 games. I think she broke her collarbone in the first game of the year, second game of the year, and then we didn't have her until like the last 4 or 5. So she's just now starting to get comfortable. So hopefully we see a few more from her.
Defensively, what do you like about what that unit has done? You mentioned you played a lot of strong attacking teams so far.
Yeah. They've bent and not broken, I think, is probably the easiest way to put it. There's a lot of miles on the tires for the 4 primarily players that have played. We get one player back who had probably been one of our best defenders early on. She'd been out with an injury. She played a little bit Friday, a little bit again last night. We had, yesterday, I think one of our best defenders is probably one of our freshmen, who, when I recruited her to bring her in, I didn't fully expect to be playing her in the back right now. So I thought she did great against she was matched up with Courtney Paul, who's a Union kid, and holds all the goal scoring records in Iowa, and she's a tough player to deal with, and she was great. So I think, the beauty is they're just used to every game just being a battle and a challenge, and really not being able to take much time off, because they're always in constant communication and movement. And so I think it's just allowed them to have the confidence to know they can play against really good attacking players.
What's the freshman's name?
Megan Benmore, it's an Illinois kid.
And then the player you had come back,
Maddie Gurman, yeah. We needed a little bit of help with the heat and playing on turf yesterday. That always throws a wrinkle into the game for both sides. It's a little bit of a war of attrition you have to, manage with not being able to come out and go back in the first half. Your second half is a little bit more stoppage with, trying to just keep players from not having to play 90 minutes in that, because that's a challenge. And so both teams, I thought, Sunday games after playing on Friday usually aren't very good in terms of quality, and I thought the game yesterday, probably because of the rivalry and just the two teams, I thought we were better than we were on Friday night. and at times seemed a little bit more fresh. So, yeah, that both teams dealt with it pretty well. All right, thank you.